there should be a special place on our show, Brian, for weeds like this week's Weed of the Week. It's a primary noxious weed, Leafy Spurge.
Well, leafy spurge is a real problem, in part because it's a perennial weed.
Now, when you say a perennial weed, I think a lot of our viewers really are familiar with some perennial plants, and they're desirable, like perennial flowers and those types of things in your garden. That's great because they stick around for a long time. The challenge with leafy spurge is it shoots out rhizomes underneath the ground. So it has root systems that move sideways and then pop up another shoot. So if you've got leafy spurge in a small area out in your pasture, in your ditch, in your rangeland, wherever, all of a sudden that small little area becomes bigger and bigger and bigger each year until it takes over that whole farm.
Well, here's the other problem, Darren. It literally can shoot seeds out. A lot of plants just have seeds and they fall to the ground, but leafy spurge can shoot them out. So between the rhizomes, between the shooting seeds, this thing really can spread, and it can spread quickly.
All right, now if you don't know what leafy spurge looks like, I always used to joke as a kid that it must be the state flower because we see it all over along the roadsides, and it's got these yellow flowers at the top that really do catch your eye. When you break open leafy spurge, it's got a white milky substance inside it, so that's another distinguishing factor versus other weeds.
All right, so when you do see it out in pastures and some of these roadsides, the very best product we've ever found on leafy spurge is still Tordon.
Now, most commonly though, Brian, we see people using 2,4-D trying to control leafy spurge, and you can certainly do that. What 2,4-D does is a nice job of controlling the top growth. The problem is it doesn't take out that root system, so they just pop up new shoots a few weeks later.
Right, so you just have to keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it with the 2,4-D, whereas Tordon, you have years worth of residual, and I mean years worth of residual. So what we usually suggest is for your leafy spurge patches, go out there with straight Tordon. Don't mix it with anything else, just go straight Tordon at a quart.
Just water.
Well, yeah, at a quart per acre. So Tordon and water, but Tordon at 1 quart per acre. And I know it's going to cost a little bit of money, but so what? It's a patch, and you can permanently eliminate that patch just by using Tordon one time if you use a quart.
All right, we don't normally see this out in cultivated fields, and that's a good thing because we don't have many control options. Roundup would be one that I would consider, but you're going to need something to stick it on those leaves and hold it there because you're going to need a strong dose to get all the way through that root system. So you're going to be using the highest labeled rates for sure.
Yep, so other than that, yeah, there's some things we can burn it down with. Again, dicamba, 2,4-D, all those growth regulators can burn it to the ground. But Roundup's about the only thing in crop areas, at least in labeled crop areas, that will actually control leafy spurge, in addition to Tordon out in pastures and non-crop areas.
Well, our weed of the week is leafy spurge. It's a primary noxious weed, which means you are legally required to control it if it's on your property. So make sure you understand the control methods here on this tough weed.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's weed, but stay tuned. Iron Talk is coming up next.